All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Run with the Wind, episode 14.
Last episode was amazing.
Last episode just got us right in the feels, y'all.
Yep, right in the kokoro to be cringe.
We are now going to have some time with our Kakeru as he is able to be vulnerable and
with this
him know,
team.
like, what he's going through and stuff.
What happened with him and everything, because he's still
dealing with that.
Still carrying that weight, still dealing with it, and let's move forward.
But they respect him. God, they're gonna respect him so much more because of this.
I love how they were just like, when he was like, oh yeah, you won't think. Damn it, I can't remember what it was that he said, but they were just like, what are you talking about? What? No.
And Haiji just being there through it all, instigating this, setting up some good opportunities for them all to be there for this. That's why he's our leader. That's why he's best boy.
Yep.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Oh, that was a good cry. I needed that. That was really powerful. Just having a classic moment where you have everyone cheering him on.
Yep.
And it's been, so much effort to take Prince to this point, and then he succeeds, and it's about whether or not, he feels like he's alone in this, and he doesn't. He doesn't. How could he not do his best when all of them are looking at him like that? And that's the point, is that it wasn't always like that. Not all of them were cheering him on in the same way. But now even Kakeru is there just like willing him to go forward.
And I love that IG is like, nope, I'm not even going to be there with the rest of them because he knows, I don't want to give him any extra pressure. That this was the episode that okay. So with this show, with the number of characters that it has, that was something from the beginning where I was like, okay, I'm very curious how they're going to give them all focus in their own different ways, right?
Right.
And I had this sort of thought in my head of like, okay, if there's 22 episodes, they could theoretically do like 2 episodes per character of like specific focus. And this was the one that I was like, they have to do this at some point, right?
Yeah.
Because since they're going to go into the Ekiden and stuff like that, and they have exactly 10 people, they need everyone to make it, including Prince. And Prince is the one where it's the how, right? You need some real shonen determinator resolve and all that stuff in order to be able to actually get it to work, because he was running 40-minute 5Ks originally. That's not going to cut it, right? And here we got it. And he did it.
Yeah,
he did it. Oh man.
It's just crazy to think about that someone who had probably every opportunity to basically give up and quit this.
Yep.
And had someone who was on the team negging him basically to quit as well. He had not only that, he had basically the issues with his body to where his frame, structure, muscles, stamina, and everything were stacked against him.
Yep.
He shouldn't have been able to do this without seriously changing everything about his life.
Yep.
And he did. And he did. And it wasn't for just the sake of doing it. It was for the sake of the others around him as well. It was for the sake of himself. It was for the moment.
Yep.
It was for the future. It was all of this. And having a classic underdog story just happen in the midst of this ensemble cast of characters who are going for their dreams and having their each of their own unique spin on this. I love this. Prince isn't the main character of this story by any stretch of it at all. And yet the fact that we can be so happy for him and so proud of him when it comes to this moment where we know he has to succeed.
Right.
We know it has to get to this point here. They're not going to have some surprise twist of subversion of expectations where he gets forced to quit and someone else gets recruited and it's the not Shinji, guy has to
someone
join
fills in or whatever.
Right. No, they're not going to do any of that.
Yeah, it's going to be all 10 of them together doing the Ekiden because the slopes of Ekiden are the steepest in the world, right?
And Haiji has fought and worked far too hard for this for it to fail.
And I want to point out something. So, underdogs. Why do we like them? right? Why do they hit hard? Well, because I feel like with a lot of the characters in this show, and the fact that they're running the Ekiden, with quite a few of them, there are conveniences that make it so that it's a lot more possible. Like the
JoJo twins are a great example of that.
They already were playing soccer and things like that. They've got pretty much the physique you'd want, so there you go, right?
Yep.
Nico-chan, he used to run, even though he's got the whole smoking thing, which is a big problem, he used to run. So there you go, right?
Yep.
Whereas with Prince is I feel like the true sort of audience insert here, not just because he's the otaku and all that stuff, and this is an anime.
Part of it.
That is part of it.
Yeah.
But the idea that he is the regular ass person, basically, where this kind of thing really would be impossible. Right?
It would be
actually impossible. The fact that they made it so that we can believe that this happened.
Yes.
Is because one, he's got a lot of awesome people with him.
That's very important.
That are very knowledgeable about how this works.
This is the kind of thing that the show isn't going to even do a good job of really describing how important that is.
Yeah.
But it comes down into the very basic, minutest details, like their sleep schedule.
Yeah, like if anything, the fact that they mentioned drinking, like that seemed like that was something where I was like, okay, that's a bit of anime sort of, making it a lot more fun, because realistically they would probably be like, no, if any of you touch a drop of alcohol, I will.
To be fair, Jacob, they have their perfect, raw, hormonal, infused bodies.
Totally, yes.
Their age
so that
perfect
helps
for this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of them are 18, 19, 20.
Right. And Haiji is making sure that the stuff that they're eating is very good. So like fish and stuff, lots of lean proteins and everything. Awesome. But like the
environment that he's in is primed him to succeed.
Right.
And then this episode where he succeeds is all about the people around him.
Yeah, this is the culmination of everything that's happened up till now. The part where Kakeru confronted Haiji and he was like, hey, I think Prince needs to go. And Haiji was like, don't you dare call their running half-assed, right?
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah.
Because if Prince had half-assed it at any point along the way, he wouldn't have gotten here, right? Because
and
40-minute 5K.
And to be fair, while he wasn't half-assing it, he was not able or willing all the time to put in 100%.
Sure.
And that's the part that's different here. Is as each of the individual players on the team started to put in 100%, it snowballed to then other people putting in 100%. That was the whole point of Shindo's character, was that he started putting in extra when they already felt like they were doing a lot, and people were like, wait. I can do that too.
Yeah, you start to realize what your actual 100% really
and
is.
They keep it's the tentpole
anime
effect.
Rivalry.
It's the tentpole effect. Everyone keeps lifting the
High
tent.
tide raises all ships and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And so Prince, being the one who is the lowest on the tentpole, so to speak, ends up getting that dramatic boost by being in this environment where so many people are pushing after the thing that they're really passionate about, and that has a psychological effect that goes beyond the physiological of how how his body is shaped, of how his muscles will perform, or how much stamina he can channel up.
And I want to point out that this, I feel like, is a great example of why on the lesson of surround yourself with good people, not just from the standpoint of for the power of friendship and the bonds and all of that stuff, but also people who can help you with the technical side of things. Because let's say Prince had a bunch of other people that were very supportive, like his manga club or whatever, right? They would not have helped him do this. Like, they would have been probably supportive, hopefully,
I'd say most of them definitely would be.
But there was no way that Prince would have made the kind of progress that he made if he was trying to do it with them, right? Because they don't know how to do this kind of stuff. Right. So the fact that he had Haiji and Kakeru and everyone, that cannot be understated. Because I feel like a lot of the times in shonen, sports anime, and it all focuses on the heart of the thing rather than the technical side of the thing, right? And while the technical side of it is
less entertaining,
so it doesn't get as much focus as the, hey, we're friends and we're going to do this together. That is still something that the show does remind us of, and it's important that they do that.
And I think that's the difference between why this was a thing that had to be done at the very end, where everyone else had gotten their qualifiers, versus something where he rapidly gets it over the course of one episode, is that when Prince makes his big leap, it's the final person who wasn't believing in him that starts to get the ball rolling there. And then at that point, he starts accelerating because his entire environment is supportive and also pushing him in a positive way. When you have an environment where there's just one or two people that are being really supportive, but not just supportive, but like pushing you, go, it's really easy to ignore it when it's not really a crowd. But when you get swept up in the crowd of a moment, it's like being in a concert. Yes. You could be someone that hates jumping and dancing and waving and freaking out and stuff like that. But once 250 to 300 people in the near proximity of you start doing that, you might get swept up in it too.
That's why people pay for them. It's not for the music. The music on a technical level is generally worse because, it doesn't have the same refinement and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's for that energy.
It's the energy. You get something out of it that is just so raw and visceral.
And I will say, because there's a sort of stereotype out there that gets a lot of flack a lot of the time, and for good reason, But I want to play devil's advocate here a bit. The whole dude bro thing of like the people that like are like, oh yeah, let's lift, man, and all that stuff.
Right.
Yes, I love when that is poked fun at and everything too. But I will say.
There's some things to be learned from the dude bros.
There is some things to be learned from the dude bro, mentality, right? Because if you're wanting to do something that you haven't done before, surround yourself with people who are going to have that kind of stupid focus for something, right? Where it's like, that's the only thing that matters, right? Because that'll make it so that it becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
Like environment is a very strong thing, and it will win out over willpower, right? Yep. And even if you end up having the willpower to fight against your environment, you will not be functioning to the same degree that you would if you were in a better environment.
Yep.
So some of the best decisions that we can make as human beings is to choose very carefully what kind of environment we're going to be in.
Or even if you can't fully just alter your environment, do things that lead towards steps that can alter that environment.
Yeah, whether it's by changing the environment yourself or by changing environments to be,
right. Usually it involves you moving. It doesn't involve you moving the environment. That's way harder. That's impossible for a lot of instances.
Don't try and lift the ocean. Yeah.
Just go to a lake,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this instance here, the episode focusing in a massive way on how everyone has their own specific flavor, energy, skill set, focus, thing that they're adept with, and bringing that in to show that they're all needed for the Hakone Ekiden, because at some point they're going to each take a 20-kilometer bit,
right?
And that 20-kilometer bit is not going to look exactly the same as the other 9.
Yeah, Musa might be on the flats, whereas Shindo is, okay, you get all the steep inclines.
You get the high elevation stuff. Yeah, exactly. And they need to think about that kind of strategy. So Yuki's getting that kind of focus of basically being like, I'm going to analyze everyone's patterns and Keikaku Dori this. But we also see some of the personal, emotional sides of things with regards to this. I'm not entirely sure what Musa was focusing on there, but he did say, you might not notice this because you're at the front, Kakeru. But I think what Kakeru and his big thing that they've been getting by him being in their environment is that even though he's not one that speaks often as much, like he doesn't kind of...
Yeah, he's not a very vocal member of the team.
Right. They do, I would say, get inspired by his actions.
Sure.
He is the one that is their shining beacon where they can go and be like, dude, I'm so excited. We get him on our team.
Right, exactly.
Instead of it's the thing of, I'm so intimidated by his running ability that I then feel like, why should I even try? It's the...
Hell yeah.
Wait, like, I'm fired up. It's the excitement of when you have, like, the sudden mysterious transfer student show up, instead of it being a thing of, oh, they're so mysterious and different and so intimidating, it's like the sports dynamic of, oh my God, our whole performance and everything is going to be magnified that much more because we're not alone.
Right.
And thus, Kakeru, who has been running off alone in the front there, might not realize that camaraderie even as much yet.
Right. They are all going to be and have been suffering immensely through their training in order to make this happen.
Right.
And the best thing that you can have to make the suffering worthwhile is a reason, right? That there is a purpose to this.
Yeah.
and that we're going to actually achieve it, right?
Yeah.
That's why Haiji keeps saying, like, of course we're going to make all our times, and of course we're going to go to the qualifier and get past it, and we're going to go into the Ekiden, and we're going to finish, and it's going to be great, you know, because they need that. They need that certainty. And having someone as amazing as Kakeru at the front can kind of make it feel like, oh yeah, no, we got this. We got this.
I just need to keep him in my eyesight.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Don't let him get too far ahead, and he'll pull us all to victory. Right. It's the whole thing that I would imagine it would be this way if, like, you know, you're in. If there was like a combat situation, right, and you knew there was the one person who was like the total badass, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, I get the feeling I'm not going to die because this person's on my side, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there you go.
Yeah, and Prince being the one that felt like he was maybe holding everyone back, or he had nothing special or unique to bring to the table, then in this episode realizes, no, if there's anything they can do, I can do it too. I'm going to push, I'm going to push, I'm going to push, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for this. But it did come down to the wire. And I really feel like this is something that a lot of people who are in the athletic field really get, because it's something that is a painful truth to understand, is that there is a lot that is out there waiting for you beyond your pain and your struggle. But until you're willing to go past your pain and your struggle, to push through it, to endure it, to actively then say, like, oh, there's a big wall in front of me, I'm going to break myself trying to climb over it. You don't realize what you're capable of until you're beyond that there.
Yeah.
And thus, Prince, in this final stretch where they went and they were counting down the time, and it was that last 30 seconds, that was where Prince finally went all out. There was a lot of
his final form, if you will.
Exactly. There was a lot of things with regards to Prince's running that was actively holding him back.
Sure.
And I want to just go a little bit too deep into this, but the fact that they wrote something on his forearm
helps him keep the arms coming like full rotation.
But it is way too awkward to run looking like this. That just doesn't doesn't feel right. So you would naturally have to then run with your arms pulling up there, and then you would turn, look at it, turn, look at it. He's basically then achieved the final actually good running form. He's no longer, arms slack at his side. He's looking up, and then as he goes to look up, he then looks down again as his arm comes up with the stride and sees forward, 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 and it's timed with a step, with a step, with a step, with a step.
Sure.
And I love that, because there is this monotony that I found when I'm running, where I sink into the step, step, breath, breath, step, step, breath, breath, and I'm basically trying to play music. I'm trying to keep it in time. I'm like, 4 measure, 4 measure, 4 measure, but instead it's with running and breathing. But once that gets cast to the side and you're no longer thinking about that, then running becomes this momentum, this effortless.
And that's the reason that I always hated running, because it's like, because
if you don't get into that,
then
hell.
Then it sucks, right?
Yeah,
and especially if the running is just for the sake of running,
right?
Yeah.
So once he surrendered to the monotony in a way by actually going down and timing and looking at there, he then was given the bolster, the encouragement, and I like it. I love that. I don't know if that was what they were intending, because it's hard to translate it through a visual medium where there's animation and movement and stuff like that, where we're not getting like his internal perspective written in a hard expository manner. But I really appreciated that, because it felt like he ran with the wind, if you will, at this final
the part where
there.
he started to like slump over, and then he just got back up and pushed through it.
But he also did the runner's lean, which is something that
that's what I was meaning.
Right, because he's always had his head like up a little bit, and his whole thing more recently has been looking forward rather than looking up, like having been slack.
Right.
So now he's got good posture, but there's a part where the track disappears. He doesn't see everyone else. He's now running fully against his own time now.
Yep.
He's not competing against the other players there. Nope. That's the beauty of running, is that you really are running by yourself anytime you run in a lot of ways. But then once you realize that, like...
Yeah, especially if you're going timed,
Yeah. But if you're in this kind of sports team environment and stuff, you realize that everyone else already has laid this track out in front of you. They've already done this. This is possible. You can do this too. So go.
Some good old Shia LaBeouf,
Right.
Yeah.
Literally, like, don't let your dreams be memes, man. Like, this is it right here. So I loved the moment where the track disappears. It's just the one lane, and then rather than kind of having his head up and kind of slack a little bit, he leans in, gets that extra dig, and then just pushes forward. Because I have seen so many times where people are at what they think is their limit,
but it's actually not.
And they, there's a thing called a second wind, which is basically like
surpassing your limits.
Right. Yeah. There's a physical thing where your body releases adrenaline. I believe it's adrenaline, and you basically kick in an extra boost of energy. Your body does not let you go at your actual 100%.
The reason surpassing your limits and all that stuff is a thing is because your body limits you to keep you from killing yourself.
Exactly.
But eventually you can kind of, your body gives up and it's like, fine,
Yeah, for some reason you believe so intently that you need to push an extra 3%, an extra 5% into this. Fine. Here's a little jolt of adrenaline and you can go even further.
And if you think that this is like, oh, okay, it's anime, that's cool and whatnot, but it's not like that in real life, just look up David Goggins.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff out
reality is stranger than fiction, right?
Yeah. It just feels so right to have it be the freaking otaku.
Yes, exactly.
Channel deep into this, relying the power of my friends who believe in me and are cheering me on. You can hear their ganbates in the background. And I'm just I'm gonna push into it, and he succeeds just barely.
Yep.
That's some classic good stuff right there.
It is.
And
so now they're on to the qualifier. Which is the real problem. Because once they get into the Ekiden, it's like, okay, they'll finish it, regardless of what their time is.
Right.
But the qualifier, that's going to be tough, because they don't exactly know what... Like, it's not like with this, where it's, okay, you beat 1630 and you're good. No, they have to beat all the other teams. So yeah.
I gotta say, my favorite, funny part this episode was watching the little unique animations that they gave to all the ones that were cheering them on.
Yeah.
Because there's only the 8 of them there. Remember, Haiji is up crying up at the hill over there.
Yep.
Just like it's just so huge. But each one of them has their own unique thing. Like the JoJo twins are doing jump squats, basically.
Right.
Kakeru's just basically
starfish,
waving starfish. Musa and Shindo are full on hugging, and it looks like Shindo's crying into his chest.
And Yuki's doing shadow boxing,
fist pumping down to the ground. Yeah. But then if you look at Nico-chan, he just and then just screams and then just starts punching onto the side and stuff. Yep. It's just I love the little bits of extra attention to
cherry
detail.
On top. Yeah.
This anime is beautiful. It is
absolutely
anime.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And I'm excited to show this anime to other buddies of mine who are into Ultimate Frisbee or something like that, and be like this one will give you some good heartfelt.
Here's my question: is this something, if you had to choose to show someone, a sports anime, and they
don't make me do this. Don't make me do this.
Would you show them Haikyuu first or Run with the Wind?
Well, it's different.
Yeah, and we haven't shown
folks.
Yeah, yes, different strokes for different folks, and we haven't finished the show yet.
Yeah,
so
we haven't finished the show yet.
It's not fair to really say that.
It's not fair. I would say that the main reason why I would show someone this is that they hadn't watched any anime before.
Sure.
This anime, I would say,
it's very beginner friendly.
A little bit more beginner friendly. It's also shorter, so that's
true.
See, the reasons I would do it are entirely meta reasons.
Yeah, it's based on who you're dealing with.
They have nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
They have almost nothing to do with the story. So, but I really feel like this anime hits a very special niche between the ping pongs, the animations, and the haikus.
Yes, I agree.
This is an anime that very much dips their toe into character study stuff, and yet is also very much a anime about a bunch of people coming together around a dream, an idea, and making it happen through the course of hard work, just good wholesomeness and everything. And Yeah, if anything, I could see Kakeru's story being monumental to people who are ready to receive kind of the lesson of Kakeru.
Sure.
If they're in a position where their athletic performance has overridden some aspect of their joy in life.
Sure.
Because I feel like that is something that a lot of athletes who are performing really well in their field or not necessarily performing as well, but they're still putting everything into it. Kakeru is a very common archetype.
Yes. Even outside of sports, I would say like this is one of the reasons why it would probably be very helpful as like an intro anime. Because, you know, if someone is just dealing with something similar to that, even if it doesn't pertain to sports, Kakeru's journey could be, you know, shot in the arm. Yeah.
Totally. And I'm a huge fan of Haiji.
Yeah.
So
Haiji's
focus
just great.
we get with him is just really good. Oh, and by the way, apparently the physical therapist was saying that he was getting some good muscle growth.
I gotta say,
is really nice to see, because usually when they show the medical specialists in sports stuff, it's something's about to go wrong.
Right.
But no, that could be you can get a good checkup. And
yeah, you can get a good checkup, and the fact that that's happening,
it's a relief kind of.
It's a relief, but then at the same time, it's like, but hold on, like, but it is bringing it back up, and like nothing bad's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like whenever, like there's times when stories tell me something bad's coming, right? And then there's times when stories tell me everything's fine, don't worry, and
your
I'm not sure.
brain
I'm not sure which one is worse. like. So. Yeah.
You have the opposite response.
Right. I'm like, I have trust issues. So, yeah.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.